everybody. So today I wanted to give my quick review of Stranger Things Season 2. It took me a while to see the series, see the whole thing. I've just been so busy lately, and I really liked Season 1. It definitely hit my nostalgia points very heavily because I was born in 1981, and just so much of what they had in there was just my childhood, and I can picture sort of me and my group of friends hanging out and riding our bikes and having these adventures and stuff like that they had. And so, it had E.T., which was really important, Goonies, things like that, just a lot of those feelings. And overall, I think they did a good job keeping that up, and maybe also toning it down a little bit and not making it so nostalgic dependent. So, but they still had some of those sort of homages to classic films and classic 80s. There's tons of 80s Easter eggs all throughout, but they did a good job, and they did a really good job, I think, of developing the children particularly really well. I really liked how we got to see more of Will. The actor is really good in the role of Will, because he's a pretty undeveloped character in the first series because he's gone most of the time in the first season. And I really liked getting to see more of Dustin, getting to see more of all of the kids, and they have such great chemistry together that was a real joy, and that was really fun. And I think you just buy them that they are these characters. They're really strong actors, and we also get to see a lot more of Eleven, and we get to hear more of her backstory. I think they could have done it in a more effective way, but it is still interesting to hear more about her and to see her reactions to living with the David Harbour character, the sheriff, and being sort of limited and wanting to help and find Mike and everything like that, I think was really nice to see. And of course, Millie Bobby Brown, amazing. She's a great actress. All the kid actors are just so good. They have a new kid that joins the troupe that becomes named Mad Max. She was good. I liked her character. She's kind of skeptical of everything, which she would be, of course. And she comes from kind of a hard home life. And we also get a new character in Bob, who was played by Sean Astin, who becomes the boyfriend, or is the boyfriend of Joyce, played by Winona Ryder. And he was a really sweet character. He was a really sincere character, which I liked to see. It would have been easy to kind of add more cynicism with this season, but I kind of liked that they kept it pretty sincere and pretty likable. They kept characters very likable for the most part, and so that was good. And I liked how it just been easy to make the new boyfriend this pill and this, but he wasn't. He was a cool guy. He was a good character, and I think that they did a good job, not just completely repeating what had worked in the first season, and trying new things and experimenting. And I appreciate that. And it's certainly well made. It's certainly very entertaining. I was never really bored. And so I think they did a good job. I think that the downsides for me on season 2, I still would give it a high score, but I think season 1 is better. I know a lot of people like season 2 better, but in my opinion, season 1 was better because I think season 1 did a better job of creating mystery. You really had no idea what the Upside Down was and what was happening and what the rules were for all of this. And of course, it's going to be easier than in season 2. But I felt like to me, as opposed to being sort of a mystery and having all these clues, which I think they could have done with 11, they could have done with, even with this monster and made it, sort of more finding clues to the monster. But to me, I felt like it became, particularly in the last 3-4 episodes, it became basically a monster movie with these monsters, these demogorgs, I think they're called. And I didn't really like them, and I just felt like it just became kind of generic as far as just a monster movie, which to me wasn't as interesting as a mystery, which I liked better. And I just felt they showed too much, because you have Dustin and Steve, they're fighting monsters, and then you have the whole group back at the center that they're fighting monsters, and then there's and I don't know, it's kind of reminded me of I Am Legend, where I Am Legend, the first like 45 minutes is so good because you haven't seen these creatures at all, and so there's just this sense of mystery, and you hear a sound, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's that? And, you know, what's that shadow? It's just so much more engrossing when you don't know. But then as soon as in I Am Legend, when you see the monsters, it's like, ugh. And I kind of felt the same way here, that like once we saw the monsters, we saw a lot of the monsters, and I just didn't really think they looked that great. And I just thought that they were pretty generic monsters. I've seen monsters like that a million times, and it just wasn't that interesting to me compared to the mystery versus a monster movie. And I just prefer the mystery personally myself. And I also did feel like I'm kind of in the general consensus that episode 7, I like that they tried to add to Eleven's backstory, but to me it had sort of a Chappie vibe to it with this like really obnoxious gang that I didn't really like, and I thought they were annoying, and I thought that 8 could have been an interesting character, but like it just didn't really work to have her in like the first episode a little bit and then all of a sudden to have her in episode 7. And I think like it would have been much better if she had been throughout the whole series and we'd really gotten to sort of know her. To just like have this weird sort of wedged in episode, to me didn't really work, and I didn't really like that gang that she had. It just was kind of shrill and just sort of annoying. So I would just skip episode 7, really. I just don't think it really worked. I admire they tried it, but it didn't work for me. But overall, it's entertaining. Like, even though it is a monster movie and that's not my favorite, towards the end, it's still like well-made monster movie, and it's still got the great kid actors, and so I definitely recommend watching it, and it's a lot of fun, and I would still give it like a B plus, where I would definitely give the first season like an A. So that's just my opinion. It uses music very well. It definitely creates atmosphere really well. So they do a lot of really good things with this series, and I'm excited for season 3. So let me know what you thought of Stranger Things season 2, and thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!